Besama weld wama feskadus aduam like amin. Besama weld wama feskadus aduam like amin. Besama weld wama feskadus aduam like amin. Good morning, blessed love. Hope all's doing good this morning, this Tuesday morning. So straight in with the reading of Exodus chapter 16. Give thanks for these few words. They took their journey from Elim, and all the congregation of the children of Israel came to the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day of the second month, after their departing out of the land of Egypt. The whole congregation of the children of Israel murmured against Moses and against Aaron in the wilderness, and the children of Israel said to them, "We wish that we had died by Yahweh's hand in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the meat pots, when we ate our fill of bread, for you have brought us out into this wilderness to kill the whole assembly with hunger." Then Yahweh said to Moses, "Behold, I will rain bread from the sky for you, and the people shall go out and gather a day's portion every day, that I may test them, whether they will walk in my law or not. It shall come to pass on the 6th day that they shall prepare that which they bring in, and it shall be twice as much as they gather daily." Moses and Aaron said to all the children of Israel, "At evening you shall know that Yahweh has brought you out from the land of Egypt. In the morning you shall see Yahweh's glory, because he hears your murmurings against Yahweh. Who are we that you murmur against us?" Moses said, "Now Yahweh will give you meat to eat this evening, and in the morning bread to satisfy you. But Yahweh hears your murmurings which you murmur against him. Who are we? Your murmurings are not against us, but against Yahweh." Moses said to Aaron, "Take all the congregation of the children of Israel, come close to Yahweh, for he has heard your murmuring." And Aaron spoke to the whole congregation of the children of Israel. They looked towards the wilderness, and behold, Yahweh's glory appeared in the cloud. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, "I have heard the murmurings of the children of Israel. Speak to them, saying, at the evening you shall eat meat, and in the morning you shall be filled with bread. And then you will know that I am Yahweh your God." In the evening, quail came up and covered the camp, and in the morning the dew laid around the camp. When the dew that lay had gone, behold, on the surface of the wilderness was a small round thing, small as the frost on the ground. When the children of Israel saw it, they said to one another, "What is this?" For they didn't know what it was. Moses said to them, "It is the bread which Yahweh had given you to eat. This is the thing which Yahweh has commanded. Gather of it everyone according to his eating. An omer ahead, according to the number of your persons. You shall take it, every man for those who are in his tent." The children of Israel did so, and they gathered some. Sorry, let me read that again. Give thanks. The children of Israel did so, and some gathered more, some less. When they measured it with an omer, he who gathered much had nothing over, and he who gathered little had no lack. They each gathered according to his eating. Moses said to them, "Let no one leave it until the morning." Notwithstanding, they didn't listen to Moses, and some of them left it until the morning, so that it bred worms and became foul, and Moses was angry with them. They gathered it in the morning, and everybody according to his eating. When the sun grew hot, it melted, and on the 6th day they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers for each one. And all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moses. They said to him, "This is what Yahweh has spoken. Tomorrow is a solemn rest, a holy Sabbath to Yahweh. Bake that which you want to bake, and boil that which you want to boil, and all that remains overlay up for yourselves to be kept until the morning." They laid it up until the morning as Moses ordered, and it didn't come foul. There were no worms in it. Moses said, "Eat that today, for today is Sabbath to Yahweh. Today you will not find it in the field. 6 days you should gather it, but on the seventh day is the Sabbath. In there shall be none. On the seventh day some of the people went out to gather, and they found none. Yahweh said to Moses, How long do you refuse to keep my commandments or my laws? Behold, Yahweh has given you the Sabbath. Therefore he gives you on the sixth day, the bread for 2 days. Everyone stay in his place. Let no one go out of his place on the seventh day. So the people rested on the seventh day. The house of Israel called its name manna, which is like coriander seed, white, and its taste is like the wafers with honey. Moses said, This is the thing which Yahweh has commanded. Let them an omer full of it be kept throughout your generations, that they may see the bread with which you fed in the wilderness when I brought you out of the land of Egypt. Moses said to Aaron, Take a pot and put an omer full of manna in it, and lay it up before Yahweh to be kept throughout your generations. As Yahweh commanded Moses, so Aaron laid it up before the testimony to be kept. The children ate the manna 40 years until they came to an inhabited land. They ate manna until they came to the borders of the land of Canaan. Now an omer is 1/10 of an ephah. Give thanks, blessed love, for these few words. So yeah, here we have an unhappy people, really. They've been brought out of Egypt by Moses and Aaron on the instruction of God, but they're hungry, they're getting disgruntled. God's trying to provide for their needs, so he provided for their needs by raining bread down onto the land. They had bread and they also had meat, but there's very specific instructions, particularly around the Sabbath, and to test their, also it does say test, to test their obedience and their restraint. So God sent down bread, and God instructed them to only take as much as you need for each house, so then everyone has an equal share. So it's kind of trying to test them not to be greedy, and yeah, equality, really. So some people took all they needed, some people took less, but some people took more. And the people that took less had enough, but the people that took more, theirs started to rot away. And, you know, God said, this isn't going to keep till morning. You have to eat what you have tonight. But some didn't listen to that, and it started to rot. So God got angry with that because people took more than they needed. Then also God gave them a very specific instruction. On the sixth day, you take twice as much, because the seventh day is the Sabbath. And there'll be no bread there for you on the Sabbath. There'll be no gatherings. It's meant to be a day of rest. Some people listened to that and they took their 2 days worth on the day before the Sabbath. But some people didn't listen to that and they went back out on the Sabbath and they couldn't find any bread. And then God got frustrated because people are still not listening to him. So it's kind of a process of trying to educate humans of instruction, how to follow, simple instruction, follow rules, and to also trust in him. When he says he's going to provide, he will provide. But don't exploit that and use it for your own self-interest. And then as it goes on, God says to keep a symbol of that bread, the manna, they call it, in a pot to remember that which I have given you in the years of wilderness. That's a tradition that no longer continues, I believe, this keeping of the pot. It ended a few generations later, but at that time it was a symbolic gesture to keep a bit of bread in a pot to remind the people of Israel what God did for them. But yeah, I do believe that that's not a tradition that's kept today. The keeping of the manna, manna, manna in the pot, the bread in the pot. But it does say at the end that the children of Israel ate the manna for 40 years until they came to an inhabited land. So put that in context. They're, since leaving Egypt with Moses and that whole parting of the Red Sea, where we are now in the story is 40 years later. It's not 10 days later. So this is a very long journey, a very long time for the people of Israel to be hungry, to be, yeah, facing this very difficulty. And this is why the people are unhappy, because they're saying to Moses at the beginning, you could have left us in Egypt, we would have been eating better, we would have been surviving better in Egypt, even though we're enslaved, than now so-called free, but they're still hungry. So yeah, very challenging kind of argument. There's a temptation to put that in a modern day context with transatlantic enslavement and abolition. I'm not going to go there. I'm going to leave that as an elephant in the room. So it's in a way, it's kind of too easy to make that analogy. I'm kind of more interested in staying within these pages for this particular context anyway, without always bringing it back to transatlantic enslavement. But we can see that there's some lessons and things to explore there, which for me is a later conversation or a wider reasoning. But yeah, interesting. But God is still on their side. He's still providing for them. He hasn't forsaken them, and he's still fulfilling their promises and trying to keep it happy. And there's a lot here in terms of human satisfaction, human need, the differences between wants and needs, and yeah, trust, because trust is a big thing, particularly when you're hungry, particularly when you're times of adversity and vulnerability. To trust someone that they're going to fulfill their end of the promise, that's a very big thing, and not people don't always trust easy. And God's sympathetic with them because he knows that they haven't been through an easy journey. So, he's testing them, but he's also gentle with them at the same time. And yeah, ultimately, then we see how the rest of this story plays out and the fulfillment of those promises play out. But yeah, we saw it in Genesis, this ongoing negotiation between God and humans, and we're still seeing it in Exodus, and we're seeing the children of Israel having a stronger kind of identity because they came out of adversity together. So they're kind of all on the same page in the sense of who we are as a people. But there is still this kind of slight pushback in terms of, well, what does this add up to, if you like? What's the end game of this? And God's trying to show it's not always about the end game. It's about, it's about the moment. And survival. So yeah, I'll end it there. Lots to unpick on, but it's a fascinating read. Have a blessed day. God willing, see you tomorrow. Give thanks.